a location, and she was going to call the attorney's office and let them know, make them aware of the fact that this is what was going to be happening. I was completely devastated. I was breaking down on the telephone. This wasn't, I mean, we had bonded with this baby. We had grown to love her. Our children had grown to love her. It wasn't as if she changed her mind, you know, the day that she was born. This baby was becoming attached to us. She was developing a personality. We were bonding with her.
There were some legal documents that had to be signed after the placement agreement, because that's what usually happens.
Right.
And that's what we call a surrender document. You're familiar with that?
The only papers they told me that I needed to sign, if I wanted to, was to waive my rights for the 90 days.
That's what I'm talking about. And you did not sign those.
Right.
Am I correct?
Is this the waiver? You're talking about the waiver?
I'm talking
Yes.
about the waiver.
Right. No, I never signed those.
But you were asked to sign the waiver.
I was asked to sign those many times.
Many times. Well, we'll get to that in a moment.
She had also agreed to sign it in the hospital.
Are you two married?
No.
No, Your Honor.
But you live together?
Right.
Yes, Your Honor.
How long have you been living together?
5 years.
Yeah.
We have a 4-year-old together.
And how many other children do you have?
We have 4, besides the baby. We have 5.
And what made you decide that you thought it was in the child's best interest, since I assume that that was your motivation, to place this child for adoption?
Neither one of us was working at the time, Your Honor.
We were just having a really bad time, and we neither one had a job, and
We just thought it would be the best for the baby.
because we couldn't provide really well for our own children and this one, and it was just very, you know, hard.
It was
a very
difficult
hard
decision.
decision. It wasn't something that was easy. It was heartbreaking. It was very hard.
I'm sure it was. But you decided to do it.
Right.
Judge Judy continued.
So they could take their other children to Disneyland.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Heartbroken parents, Jennifer and Peter Tothpaul, are suing Debbie Kay, the birth mother of the baby they adopted. The Tothpauls say 7 weeks after they took the newborn home, Debbie and her boyfriend Phil changed their minds and demanded their child back. They're suing to recoup adoption costs.
So let's get to the reason you changed your mind and when you did.
There was just many reasons. There was many reasons because, well, one reason is because I wanted her. You know, it was devastating for me to give her up. You know, when your baby's born, you cry because you're happy. I cried because I was just
I cried because I had to give her
heartbroken.
away.
Right, and it was very hard. And
When, for the first time, did you make the decision that you were going to ask for her back?
it was about a month later. I had
When? She was born in
August.
August? And when did you decide to ask? When, in your mind, did you say, I'm going to ask for her back?
I can't tell you an exact date. I mean, I was going through so much, you know. It's just in September. I had talked to the agency weeks before, and they never told them anything.
That's
You know, I
because
kept
you told
calling.
them not to tell us.
I did not tell
No,
them.
no. Don't talk to each other.
I had talked to the social worker.
Did you have misgivings right after the baby was born in August about whether you were going to go through with this adoption?
No.
Was it a week later? Was it 2 weeks later?
It was about, I don't know, 4 weeks later. There was a lot of things that led up to it, you know. Is that we had to go through so many things.
Like what?
Like, we sent all our kids away because we kept it a secret. And that was very, very emotional because I kept hidden. I didn't tell very many people. And just different things. It was just really hard. And they had told us things that, like, he wasn't even present for the birth. And I felt like, you know, she wasn't as important as their own children.
That's not the reason, Debbie, that you changed your mind.
No, that's not the only reason. It was just different things.
Go ahead.
I was just unsure about what was going on. And I felt, when I talked to everybody at the agencies and the lawyers and everything, they made me feel like I was, you know, less important, or I just felt less significant, you know, and it wasn't as important for them to send me the papers. They made me feel like I was selling her And that wasn't my intentions at all.
When for the first time were you asked to sign the waiver? In the hospital?
Yes.
And you decided not to sign the waiver in the hospital. Can you tell
No.
me why? He did.
No, there was something was said like we were going to go out a couple weeks later for lunch or something and sign this paper, this
You
waiver.
mean you weren't asked to sign the waiver in the hospital?
Yeah, we were.
Sure you were.
Yeah, and we declined it then
Right. My question to you is, why did you say no, sir, in the hospital?
in case she wanted to get the baby back because
What
I was
about you?
fully supporting her in whatever she wanted to do.
So even in the hospital, you weren't sure that you were going to go through with this adoption. Is that what you're telling me?
No, I'm not telling you that at all.
But what you just said to me suggests that that was true, because if at that moment of the child's birth you were totally committed to this adoption, then you would have signed the waiver at the time. Don't speak to him. I understand that you can have a change of heart. My point is, these people are suing for nothing else other than, at this point, $4,500, which is what they gave to you in support for the 3 months that they agreed to. I mean, they can't be compensated for their heartbreak. That doesn't necessarily make you the bad guys, because you're entitled to have a change of heart. That's what the law provides. But my question is, when was the point in time when you had this change of heart? If you were committed to the adoption without reservation, you would have signed the waiver in the hospital at the time that they took the baby home.
We couldn't. We had to do it after. We had to go to this in LA somewhere. That's what we were told.
Because he wasn't there to sign something.
He doesn't have to be there to sign. You have to be there to sign. The waiver is something you have to do.
But they told me I could not sign this in the hospital.
They asked you to do it immediately thereafter, and you put them off.
No, I was going to do it. I had told him I would. And you know that I told him I would.
You never did it. Did
Right.
you go away on vacation?
I was going to go away, and I never was able to go.
But you told them you were going away on vacation.
Right.
Whether you went or not, you said you couldn't sign the papers. You'll sign them when you come home from vacation, correct?
Right.
So that's
They
right.
called me 3 days after the baby was born. They called me 3 days. I didn't want to talk about this. I didn't want to deal with it. You know, it was...
Debbie, I'm
But
not
I did not
faulting
tell
you
them.
for changing your mind, Debbie. I want you to understand that. The law builds that in. But if what you're telling me is 3 days after the baby was born, when the baby is already with the new parents, you're called and said, would you come in so we can sign the papers?
That's not what they didn't call me to say that. They just called me to tell me that he hadn't signed his part of the papers yet, and just to let me know what was going on. That was the only time I ever heard from anybody.
No, that's not true. You knew you had to sign the waiver. Come on,
Right,
Debbie.
that's not what they said, but they
you
weren't
knew
telling me to do it then.
You knew you had to sign
Right.
the waiver, and you kept putting it off.
And we
They-
had 90 days to do
They
it.
didn't tell me I had to sign
I
it.
know
They
you
said-
had 90 days to do it, sir. I mean,
Right.
are we understanding each other?
Yeah, totally. I'm not disputing anything. I'm just saying.
You had 90 days. Of course you have 90 days to do it. The idea is, if you're committed to doing it,
Right.
then you do it at the earliest possible time,
Right.
right? And you two folks didn't do that because you had misgivings as to whether you were absolutely positive that you wanted to do it. Is that true?
No,
I don't
it's not.
believe you.
If
I
it-
don't believe that. I don't believe that, because otherwise you would have done it. And the bottom line is, you did in fact say, I'm not signing the papers, I want the baby back. I'm not faulting you for wanting your baby back. I'm faulting you for taking their payment in September.
And you know,
I'm faulting you for that.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jennifer and Peter Tothpal are suing Debbie Kay, the birth mother of their adopted baby, after she demanded they return her child. The heartbroken Tothpals are suing to recover the cost of the adoption.
You took the money in September, even though you had misgivings. That's not fair, because that also says to them, everything is going the way it should be going. We can fall in love with this baby. That's not fair. And what I'm suggesting to you is, they're not the bad guys here. You're not bad either. But you didn't play it 100% straight with them. And it's a shame.
you know, when I talked to her, and I hadn't even made up my mind then, she was very, very mean. She says, I am not a babysitter, and I'm going to call Child Protection Services.
Well, for
And
once,
then, and I hadn't even said anything yet.
Sure,
and
she
after she said, do you want to come to my house and see our home and everything? And I agreed. But that kept going through my mind. How could she be so mean? She's going to call the Child Protection Service on this baby. She's hurting the baby. And then when we did change our mind, and they made it very, very hard for us to get the baby.
You would too.
And-
If the circumstances were different, Debbie, you would too.
No. She dropped her off. She didn't even tell me what kind of formula she was drinking. She dropped her off in just a diaper and a T-shirt, which,
you know what?
I didn't even know what kind of formula she was drinking.
Why didn't you ask?
She wasn't there.
Just why didn't you ask the social worker?
The social worker wasn't there either. The social worker was on vacation. The lawyer was the one that was giving us a hard time. He wouldn't even let the father pick her up. He's the one that told us they were going to call child. They made us feel like we were evil, and it was
In
nothing.
their minds, Debbie, you were evil. First, they hear that you're unable to take care of this infant because you have too many other kids that have to be taken care of. You have no jobs. You have no way of supporting this baby. And so that two people, the two of you, who look like two able-bodied people, had to accept $4,500, $1,500 a month to pay your rent and your food and whatever other expenses you had just to keep you for the last trimester of this baby's birth. And then, after 7 weeks, you say, well, now I want her back. Were you both working? Were you both working at the time you got her back?
I had just started working.
When you got her back. So who was going to take care of the baby?
I had a babysitter.
You know what? She sent her sister to pick up the baby.
That's right, because I just
She
started
was
working.
at work.
I had just started a brand new job. I couldn't just leave.
Talking about your daughter.
And we'd already agreed on this the night before. And she knew the whole situation.
She doesn't know the whole situation, Debbie. You just
No, I told her that
you're not being fair. You can't say that these folks did anything wrong.
I didn't say they were doing anything wrong.
Okay.
Can I mention something else?
Sure.
In lieu of receiving an epidural in the hospital, they wanted money in exchange for that.
But I didn't come up with that.
Don't speak.
They wanted money in exchange for that. That didn't come from us. We wouldn't make such a suggestion. I told her I wanted her to be comfortable, and we would talk about that after the fact. 2 days after the baby was born, we received a call from our attorney's office stating that they wanted $720 in lieu of an epidural so they could take their other children to Disneyland in San Diego.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I know you're heartbroken. Fortunately for you, you can be heartbroken and look at your two kids when you go home.
Right.
You know that.
I'm very grateful for my children. I'm
I'm
very
sure
fortunate.
I'm sure you know other people who have been through the adoption process and the adoptions have failed that don't have the two gifts that you do at home
That's
to go home and look at. It doesn't make it any easier. Tough lesson, but you understand how hurt they are. All right, the issue is not a difficult one, especially since I believe that you understand it is your moral responsibility to return this money. You had an agreement with the plaintiffs that they would, in fact, take care of you for 3 months of your pregnancy, and you would allow them to adopt your baby. You did not allow them to adopt your baby, and therefore, they're entitled to their money back. So judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $4,500. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next...
Versus Hotline Elbring. Step forward, please.
65-year-old S.B. Haya is suing Life Partners founders Bill Elbring and Judy Hartline for a refund plus pain and suffering after attending their sensual therapy seminar.
Order. All rise. Quiet, please. Now, this is case number 341 on the calendar in the matter of Haya versus Hartline Elbring. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Sir? Sir, have a seat.
Mrs. Haya, from what I gather from your complaint, you were given a gift by your children of a 3-day seminar
3.5 days.
To sort of get in touch with all your feelings, to understand whatever difficulties you had with your children historically, to try to work out your problems, whatever problems you were having with your kids. And the defendants ran that seminar.
Actually, they were in the back. They were not running at the seminar.
They own the seminar. That's why you're suing them, correct? Right. And you say that you stayed for the seminar, the 3 or 3.5 days, but it was a terrible experience. You want your money back. It wasn't your money, it was your kids' money. And you want another $4,300 for pain and suffering. Right?
Right.
Who are you, sir?
This is my husband.
Okay, and who are you?
I'm the son.
You're one of the 3 children.
Yes.
Okay. You don't want your money back?
No.
All right, so why don't you tell me about this seminar and what prompted you to go in the first place?
Well, it started with my daughter. She called me up about in late May, and she said, I want to tell you about it. I want you to come. I said, I don't want to come. And the minute she heard I don't want to come, she slammed the telephone on me. And
had you been having difficulty with your daughter?
Well, she was a little bit difficult.
How old is she?
She's 34. And the next time she called me up, she said, I want to enroll you in this. I said, Tammy, I don't want to enroll because I don't really need it. She said, no, I want you to enroll, and I want you to call up Judy and Bill. It was like an order. Otherwise, hell broke loose. You know, and you have to do it. There's no such...
So you did it?
I did it, you know.
So you went to the seminar?
So I went to the seminar.
Who paid for the seminar?
My children.
And did the children go with you?
She said she's going to be there to support me, which she did not support me.
Just a second. Did any of your children go with you for the 3 days?
She was in the back.
Your daughter?
My daughter.
So she did go to the seminar?
But I had no relationship with her.
But she was there?
She was in the back.
She was in the back. Now tell me what the problems were that you say you had at the seminar.
I experienced a very, very difficult, for 3.5 days. It was from 10 o'clock in the morning till 12 o'clock at night. And at 12 o'clock at night, he tells you, the pervert that's running this. He tells you, get your notebooks out and take homework. 12 o'clock in the middle of the night, you have to go home. I am sick. I can't stand on my feet. I am not a woman that can take such pressure like this. 14 hours
Ms.
from
Hayer,
10 o'clock in the morning till 12 o'clock at night.
Why didn't you leave?
Why didn't I leave? Because I'm supposed to be there. I am programmed. I was brought up in the Middle East, in Iraq, Baghdad. As a Jewish woman, I couldn't say no to anything. I'm there. I had to do it, regardless of what my children wanted me. So I had to endure all the hardship that I had. From 10 o'clock till 12 o'clock at night, with 20 minutes of lunch, only 20 minutes. And then when Rocky music starts, God help us if we don't sit on the chair. We have to sit like this. We have to sit like this. You can't sit like this. You can't sit like that. She comes and she says, you have to go like this. I mean, like this, like this. You know, all day long. My feet swells up from being sitting so long, all day long. You know, 12 o'clock at night, I go home at 1 o'clock, I have to do homework.
What kind of homework were you given?
Oh, the different things. 50 words of this, 50 sentences of this. I said, what, they're crazy? You know, 20 minutes for lunch. One time I was sitting, I had the food in my mouth when Rocky music starts.
What's Rocky music? You mean a certain
Rocky, the Sylvester Stallone, the music.
Rocky music.
That's right.
So the
minute Rocky music starts, you have to be sitting. Otherwise, God help you. The pervert all day long, he tells you about what is your sexual habits? What do you do for masturbation? What is this? You know, What is this? What kind of question?
How many people were there?
We were 22 people and 20 in the back, something like that.
Okay, so 22 people, and
Yeah.
then there were children
I need
or
some
maids?
water because I am
Okay.
very thirsty.
Okay, we'll wait.
Excuse me.
Bird, you want to help her with that before it ends up on the floor?
This is hell. Excuse me, Judge Judy. This was hell. They were supposed to bring us together. They broke all ties with my children.
Well, let's get to that. What happened with your daughter?
I didn't see her. I didn't see her in the morning. I didn't see her.
When it was over.
All I saw her going back and forth and giving the pervert some water to drink.
Okay. All right.
They destroyed me, and they destroyed my children, my son.
Judge Judy will continue. Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 65-year-old S.B. Haya says she endured pain and suffering during a sensual therapy seminar arranged by Bill Elbring and Judy Hartline. She's suing for a refund.
You went to the seminar too? At
Before.
some point?
Yes,
Before your mother?
before.
Yeah.
Step up for just 1 second. I have a couple of questions for you. How much before your mother went to the seminar did you go?
About 2 years prior.
And who did you go with?
I went with my girlfriend at the time.
You were having some problems that you felt you had to work out?
No, not. I just thought that it was something that would. It was a personal growth seminar, and I wanted to discover more about myself. And
Did you support your mother going?
well, I enrolled my sister into the workshop, and she had such a great experience when she came out. She asked my mom to go, and when she said to me that I'd like Mom to go through it, are you willing to pay half for it? And I said, yes. I think it's kind of a lost cause.
Why is that? Tell me your first name.
Eric.
Eric. There are 3 children.
Yes.
You, your sister, and there was another brother or sister?
Right, Bob. Brother Bob.
And what I gather is that as adults, you find your mother difficult.
Yeah, very difficult.
Okay. What about your dad?
He's a sweet man. He's,
Okay. But you find
he's difficult too. He's a very stubborn man, but he's a sweet man.
Okay. So you were all trying, all 3 adult children were going to try to get to your mother.
Yeah. Try to help the relationship.
It didn't work,
No.
but you gave it a try. How much was the seminar?
700.
Okay. All right, Eric.
Your
Do you
Honor,
remember?
when you, as a witness, I would like to add something.
Certainly, sir.
Eric is a very intelligent boy, and all my children are very congenial. Up to 4 years ago, we had a very nice relationship. We fly from Florida to California. We spend in their house. They come to us. They spend in our house. To get closer to them, my wife bought an apartment. As a result of this seminar, we sold it now. We don't want to be there. You asked Eric if he went. He did not go once or twice. These seminars are geared to continue and continue and continue, and it never ends. And they are coerced to recruit more and more. He made me go, and the seminar that I went to, the things that happened there is mind-boggling, and maybe I should not go into it. It seems to me this is a cult because they follow American native traditions, and they bring 7 burning stones to tell us these are sacred fathers of ours, and they make us parade naked. At night, I had my eyes tied, and I had to hold on to 30 other naked men to walk in outside. We don't know whether we are going to go. Then,
Does that sound familiar to you?
You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Sure, listen.
Then
Just
we went.
Does that sound familiar? Does that happen? Just answer me yes or no. Does that happen?
One of the seminars that we brokered, I think he experienced that.
Your
Okay.
Honor, we went into a room.
Sir, let me ask you this
Sorry
question.
about that.
I'll ask you the same question I asked your wife.
Go ahead.
If somebody said to me, get naked, right, and go around touching 30 other people over 7 hot stones, I would ask them what it was that they were smoking. Do you understand? I would get my hat and coat and be out of there before Bird could blink his eyes.
Judge Judy will continue. Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Life Partners founders Bill Elbring and Judy Hartline say they don't owe a refund to SB Haya for a sensual therapy seminar because her daughter gave it to her as a gift.
What I want to know is, you seem like an intelligent, sweet man. Put your hand down, madam. Why in the world would an intelligent man like you, at your age, parade around naked in front of 30 other people?
Your Honor, if I had my children coerce me to a degree that if I do not follow, and B, this is ongoing for 3 years, they were after me. And I wanted to put an end to that. So I acquiesced and agreed.
Did you stay or did you leave?
I had to stay.
Sit down, sir.
Thank you.
All right. You want to tell me something? You're seminar brokers. What does that mean?
We search for the finest personal growth workshops on the planet. We identify them, we do them, and we recommend them to people, the ones that we've found to be most valuable.
You're in the merchandising business of service workshops. That's what I'm gathering from you, sir. People who want to do these workshops, whatever they are, come to you and say, this is what I got. Sell it. Is that right?
The other way around. We go find the ones that do good work.
Whatever. Whatever. Either you go and look for them, or they find you, you put together the package, and then sell them. Correct?
Yes.
All right. You want to tell me anything before I make a decision in this case? It's not a very difficult case.
I'm just sad to be here. I am sorry that this did not work for the Hayas. I'm very proud of what we do. We have thousands of people who have been well served, and I really do not understand what didn't work for them, but that's their deal.
Whatever didn't work for them, it didn't work for them. Mr. Haya, why don't you stand up with your wife, sir? Anything else you want to tell me, Eric?
I'm just very sad it didn't work out, too. It was an attempt to bring our family together. There's one thing that was not correctly stated, is that my father said that we had a great relationship prior to 3 years. We never had a great relationship.
You and your father, or you and your parents?
Me and my parents. But, yeah, there was never a smooth relationship since the day I was born.
Why?
Why?
Yeah. Were they overbearing? Were they uncaring?
No, they were good parents physically. They knew zero about emotional needs. And my attempt was to say, it's time for the parents to let go and really be with the children, because it's time. You know, we don't have that much time left on this planet. And if we could just, if you can know who I really am about, what I am, that's all I want. And I'd like to also know what you're about, too. It's not really juicy life to me anymore. So,
Eric, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying, but you're missing something.
Yeah.
These two people were brought up in a time, they clearly were not born here.
Yeah.
They were born in a place where they probably had to struggle a little bit in order to physically survive.
True.
Is that right?
True.
And people of this generation who were brought up to physically survive, happiness was based on whether you had food on the table, whether the house was warm in the winter, whether there were warm coats and everybody had a pair of shoes in approximately the right size.
Yeah.
And they didn't spend a lot of time saying, am I really happy?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, am I putting my finger on it?
I get that.
All right? Today, your generation, I notice I take myself out of both generations. Your generation says there's more to life than just 3 meals a day and a roof over your head and There's more to that.
Yeah.
There are feelings. We want to get in touch with our feelings. You missed it as children. You missed that stroking, that emotional stroking as children. I once found a card. You know, those greeting cards? And I don't know why it sticks with me right now. But there was a picture of a pig on the front of the card. And it says, the card said, never try to teach a pig to sing. It doesn't work and it annoys the pig.
Yeah.
Do you understand that?
Well,
These people are fixed in their ways.
Yeah.
Eric, you said they were good parents to you. They provided for you. Did you go to college?
Yeah.
They educated you, right?
Yeah.
They put you in the right direction. You grew up with a sense of responsibility. You know, you come to court, you know how to dress, you wear a suit and a tie, right? You're articulate. That didn't come from nowhere. I understand how you tried. It doesn't work. You just have to appreciate these two people for what they are. They were hardworking, diligent people who didn't have a lot of time to think about the esoteric things that you would like them to think about.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
You can't sue these people. This is not their fault. For whatever reason, you stayed for the 3.5 days of this seminar, Miss Haya. The fact that it didn't work, don't speak. The fact that it didn't work for you, and the fact that your husband went, and even went through some things that I find kind of bizarre, but I'm sure there were people, Mr. Haya, that didn't find it bizarre, that went back again and again. It clearly wasn't for you two people. That doesn't mean you can sue them. That means that you should have picked up your hat and coat and said, adios. Eric, the most important thing is, I probably won't get through to your mother and father, but all I can tell you is, they seem like they're nice people. They're not the kind of Ozzie and Harriets that you would have hoped for as parents. They didn't come from an Ozzie and Harriet background. They probably struggled when they were 15 years old, 20 years old. How old were you when you came to this country?
I was 11.
And you?
I was grown up.
So you have to appreciate your parents for what they are and appreciate the fact that you still have parents and enjoy them. This lawsuit is dismissed. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I still love them very much. And I feel sadness for my mom's anger and my dad's confusion. And
Parties on Hutchinson versus Glenn. Step forward, please.
Gail Hutchinson is suing her former boyfriend, Tony Glenn, because he beat her up during an argument by slamming her head on the pavement. Tony claims Gail was harassing him and his new wife, and he says he hit her in self-defense after she maced him.
Order. All rise. Your Honor, this is case number 351 on the calendar in the matter of Hutchinson versus Glenn. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated.
You're suing the defendant because you say he assaulted you
Yes, Your Honor.
and injured you badly.
Yes.
So let me try to put this in perspective. You and the defendant dated in 1992,
Yes.
and not since.
Right.
And this assault happened in what year?
1997.
Just this past
Yes.
summer, in
Yes.
July. What were you doing near him in 1997?
Well, first of all, I wasn't near him. I was walking home from the store, and he came up behind me and viciously attacked me. Your Honor, I have pictures of my injuries.
You mean for no reason out of the blue, he just came up behind you and viciously attacked you?
Yes.
So tell me how that happened.
Well, first of all, we wasn't exactly friends after we broke up. It was a lot of animosity between us, and he told some people that he was going to beat me down like a dog on the street when he saw me, and that's what he did.
And now I'll take a look at your pictures. You were arrested for this assault, sir. Is that correct?
Yes, I was, ma'am.
And according to your papers, you had a trial already.
That's true.
Correct?
Yes.
And the jury found you not guilty.
That's correct. Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
That doesn't prevent you from suing here. You understand that? That's why you're here. Now, you want to tell me your version of this incident, sir?
Yes, ma'am. We broke up, and she just keeps harassing me.
How?
Just keeps coming back, harassing me.
How? I know you keep saying that. How does she harass you?
Over the phone, harassing me. She vandalized my car. I have restraining orders.
How many restraining orders do you have against her?
Well, I have this one restraining order against her.
This was in 1995.
Correct. She doesn't even think that it's enforceable. She just keeps coming back to me.
Well, when you say keeps coming back to you, she comes back to you by phone?
Yeah, by phone.
You say harassment. Tell me exactly what she was doing, sir.
Well, she'd come back. She'd call me on the phone all the time, harassing me, cursing me out, cursing whoever answers the phone out, you know, if it's a female or whatever.
Stop shaking your head.
It's
not impressing me.
She has like a fatal attraction. I don't know. I can't shake her.
So tell me what happened on this particular day, sir.
The incident, the day?
Yes.
The day of the incident, she had been harassing me all day long, harassing my wife.
You're married now?
Right. I got married, and she had been harassing my wife all day.
How?
Just calling.
You mean on the phone? Well, I don't want you to use the word harassing anymore. I want you to say what she'd been doing. She had been calling on the phone?
Calling, harassing me, threatening. Threatening me, you know, threatening my wife with bodily injury, threatening her with if she sees her come outside, she's going to do some damage to her. You know, threatening me with I'm going to get my boyfriend to, you know, beat you up and all this. And so
what did you do?
So I started to call the police, you know. I called the police all day long, you know. Kept calling the police. They never showed up. If you take a couple of minutes, Your Honor, you will hear it right here on the tape.
Tapes to the police?
Correct.
I'd like to hear them.
So I was calling. What can you do about somebody who's constantly harassing you, making threats to your wife? And
where are they threatening you from?
They're threatening from a phone booth, and they've been threatening me. I had a restraining order put against them. And
they're still calling you after you have the restraining order already on file?
Now she's calling and threatening my wife.
Threatening to do what?
Threatening to do violence. Just keep calling. I put a block on my phone, going to the phone booth calling, and she vandalized my car. I had that.
Did you report that already?
Yes, I reported that once, and I'm not sure what I can do because, you know.
Is she making death threats?
Yeah.
Okay.
Serious threats, like she's going to do violence. She knows what she looks like. She's going to come through the door and you know, break in, try and get in the house.
What's your address? Oh, is it a house or an apartment?
Apartment 206.
What's your name?
My name is Tony Glenn.
Glenn with a G, George?
Glenn.
Okay, we'll be there.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye. What's emergency dispatch, 20?
Yes, I was calling. Someone was supposed to come out to my house because I had someone making threats against me and my family.
What was the address that you gave?
Pearl Street, apartment 206.
Okay, is this Tony Glenn?
Yes.
Okay, what's going on now?
Well, the person's still calling, making threats. The police haven't came. I called about an hour ago.
Yeah, we got your call. As soon as we get an officer out there for the report, they'll be out there.
All right.
Thank you. Police 22?
Yes, I was calling trying to find out. I called the police about 4 hours ago, trying to get someone out to try and deal with this situation. someone keeps calling, threatening my family. I know the person, but they're just constantly calling and harassing me, and they won't stop calling and making threats on people's lives.
Is Mr. Glenn?
Yes.
Okay, I see your call. We'll be there as soon as we have an officer available.
I must be very busy, huh?
Yes, extremely busy.
Okay, because I called like at 4.
Yep, we're that busy.
All right, turn it off, sir.
All right, well.
Turn it off, sir. Okay. Now, after you got frustrated because the police didn't arrive,
Right.
what happened?
Okay, after she kept calling and calling and calling, and then finally, after the police never arrived, I said, look, what is it you want? What is it you want from me? You keep harassing me, you're harassing my wife, she has nothing to do with this. And so I asked her what she wants, and she was like, well, you meet me at the bakery, and we'll settle this, And at this point, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go down there and see what's going on. So I go down there, and then when I get down there, I walk up to her, and she proceeds to try and spray me with the mace, the pepper spray, excuse me. And at that point, we get into a fist fight. And she's been asking for a confrontation she just wants to get me into a confrontation with her simply because I'm a man. And the way it turned out, exactly the way the police saw it. This man's beating on this woman, you see. And that wasn't the case,
Where was the pepper spray?
She had it in her hand. She came out the bakery. I walked up to her, to find out what's going on.
So she told you to meet her at the bakery?
Correct.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He kicked me with his foot in my face several times.
Before or after you sprayed him?
It was before I sprayed him, and the pepper spray didn't even work.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 37-year-old Gail Hutchinson is suing her former boyfriend, Tony Glenn, for medical expenses, claiming he repeatedly kicked her and slammed her head on the pavement.
So tell me exactly what happened.
And when I walked up to her, she proceeded to spray me with the pepper spray. She didn't hit me directly in the face. She hit me somewhere in here. So it didn't immobilize me, I guess, as she wanted it to. And at that point, I was defending myself, Your Honor.
Okay, so you hit her?
So I hit her, yeah.
Yeah, a few times.
Yeah, I hit her a couple of times.
A few times. She got a black eye. Right? Now you hit her where else?
I hit her in the face, maybe hit her in the head, and,
You hit her pretty good.
I think I threw her down.
You have any papers from the criminal court?
No, but they found me not guilty.
I know they did.
All
right, Miss Hutchinson.
First of all, Your Honor, I never did harass him.
Just a second. Yes, you did. Just a second. Yes, you did. I have to explain something to you. I'm like a truth machine. Now, nobody has cause to put their hands on anybody else, but house many times. You called this house and spoke to his wife. You called the house many times. You called this house and spoke to his wife. You called the house and spoke to him. Now, you know that, and I know that. Right?
Right.
Oh, now, then you did say to him, I'll meet you at the bakery. Right?
Right.
All right. So he didn't just come up from behind you out of nowhere and beat you up. And you did have pepper spray. Right?
Right.
Now, Miss Hutchinson, get over him. Do you understand? You pushed this man to the limit. What did you expect him to do? You've been calling and threatening him in his house. Time and time again. You've been calling and threatening his wife. Time and time again. You tell him to meet you so that you can settle it. He's frustrated because the police are not responding. He comes to meet you. And when you see him, you take out pepper spray and you spray him. What did you expect him to do? Say thank you very much?
Because it wasn't like that. He kicked me. He came from behind me, and he pushed me to the ground, and he kicked me with his foot in my face several times.
Before or after you sprayed him?
It was before he sprayed me, before I sprayed him, and the pepper spray didn't even work.
That's not true, Your
It
Honor.
didn't work.
That's
It
not true,
didn't
Your Honor.
work.
Miss Hutchinson, let me explain something to you. This is why your case was dismissed in the criminal court, because you lied. And when you lie, a fact finder, that's me, or in the criminal court, that was the jury, they don't know what to believe and what not to believe. Do you understand?
Yes.
So when you tell one lie, I don't know whether the second part of what you're telling me is the truth or a lie. All I know is you say first you told me a story that he came out of nowhere and he assaulted you. And you didn't know why. And you kept shaking your head when you said that, when he was telling you the story about how you were calling and harassing him, you kept shaking your head, no, 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 that's not true. And it turns out it was true. And you came to that meeting with him that you asked for. So he didn't come out of nowhere. You told him, meet me at the bakery. You just told me that that's what you told him. And you came armed with pepper spray or mace or whatever else it was. What did you expect him to do? He's married. He doesn't want anything to do with you anymore. Leave him alone. Otherwise, you're going to have difficulty with him. He's already had a restraining order against you. I mean, that took time to get. Judge gave him a restraining order against you. You have to leave him alone because you're going to, you know, you can push somebody so far and then they're going to lose it. And then you say, oh, I didn't do anything. But you did. You keep pushing his buttons. You can't do that, Miss Hutchinson. You're stalking him. There are laws against stalking. There are laws against the kinds of things that you were doing to him and to his wife. And you have to stop it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You have to stop pushing. Going to end up.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Tony Glenn says his former girlfriend, Gail Hutchinson, was a fatal attraction who harassed him and his new wife. She's suing him for beating her up, but he claims it was in self-defense.
Now, Mr. Glenn, that doesn't excuse the fact that you probably overreacted to what happened when you hit her. You understand that. The pepper spray hit you around here. So you weren't, in fact, at risk of your life at the time. You really hit her pretty badly because she's got a black eye and she has some other bruises on her. You went a little overboard. But I don't think you went overboard, sir, out of any maliciousness. I think that you had just had it. You hadn't, I mean, have you seen her pictures?
But Your Honor, she was fighting back. It's not like...
I'm sure she was fighting back.
She was fighting back.
Listen to me. I'm sure as calm, as sweet as she stands here now, I'm sure she was fighting back.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to award her any money. I am going to dismiss this case just as the criminal court dismissed the case because I think in that case the jury was right. You have to stop pushing his buttons, madam, because after a while you push his buttons, you never know where it's going to end up. Do you understand? That's all. This case is dismissed.
What's my
now listen to
countersuit?
me. Let me tell you about your countersuit, sir.
Miss...
Listen to me. You're suing her for the expenses of living together in 1992, when you were living together. I read your countersuit. Mr. Glenn, why are you looking at me with a look of incredulity? You say in your answer, listen to me, sir. You say in your answer that you lived together and you paid all the bills in 1992 and she was supposed to pay you rent. We are now in 1997, right?
That's correct.
Just a second. Did you ever sue her before for the money that she owed you?
Well,
that you say...
But I had to pay it back, though.
Mr. Glenn, listen to me carefully, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
This happened in 1992, right?
That's true.
Did you ever sue her before?
No, I didn't sue her before.
Good. Right. Now, you're also requesting money that you had to pay for a lawyer, right?
Of course. I mean...
And just shh. Where is the bill for the lawyer?
Here it is.
Let me see it.
I mean...
Let me see the bill. Mr. Glenn, what I'm telling you is you're not totally blameless in this whole thing, sir, because you really shouldn't have gone down to the bakery to meet her.
I've done everything in my power to try and,
Listen to me. What I'm telling you is...
Your Honor...
What I'm telling you is...
Your Honor.
What is this?
Your Honor, may I say one thing?
Just a minute. What's the name of your lawyer, sir?
Cornell Solomon. May I say one thing, Your Honor?
Yes.
My wife just gave birth last night.
Right.
That amount of money has just totally wiped me out.
Just a second. What I'm asking is, first of all, one of these amounts has been changed.
No, it has.
Oh, yes, it has.
No, it has.
Oh, yes, it has. This was a 6, and it was made a 7. I know, or a 7, it was made a 6. I don't know exactly what it was, but you say that this one is $600?
That's correct.
All right. How much did you pay the lawyer in total, sir?
$2,500. That's a lot of money, Your Honor.
Just a second. You paid the lawyer $2,500? Give me his phone number. Give me his phone number. Because I'm not entertaining your lawsuit for this money that you say she owes you from when you were living together 5 years ago. I'm not doing it, Mr. Glenn. Okay. Just give me a minute, please.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Could you return this card to Mr. Glenn, please? Mr. Glenn, first of all, let me tell you, I like your lawyer. And I think that he probably did a very good job for you. You did, in fact, give him an initial retainer of $750. He charged you $500 a day for each day of the trial. You still owe him $750, right?
That's true.
Okay. But you're going to pay him, aren't you?
Of course. I got to.
Very good. And I believe, Mr. Glenn, that you are... Do you work, sir?
Yes.
What kind of work do you do?
Janitorial.
You live in the apartment where you're the janitor?
No. I work at a separate community, child care.
Okay. How long have you been working for this company?
5 years.
How much money do you earn?
About $1,400. $1,400 a month.
A month? And what about your wife, sir?
She isn't working at this time. She just had a baby last night.
Is that your first baby?
Yes.
Yes. Her first baby?
Yes.
Boy or a girl?
Boy.
How big?
He was 5 pounds, 13 ounces.
A little boy. I'm giving you your legal fees, sir.
Appreciate
Judgment in this case is on the counterclaim for the defendant, $2,500. Leave him alone.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
A country that feels like the future. Have you ever imagined a place where ancient traditions and futuristic technology walk side by side? Where people still wear kimonos but trains travel at 300 kilometers per hour? Where a small bow means more than a handshake, and silence in public is a sign of respect? That place is Japan, a land where time seems to pause and race ahead all at once. Today we'll uncover 10 surprising facts about Japan. Facts that go beyond sushi and samurai. This isn't just another tourist video. This is about understanding a culture so unique, it feels like another world. Are you ready to explore the silent power, deep discipline, and quiet magic of Japan? Fact 1. Imagine walking down a spotless street in Tokyo. Now try finding a trash bin. Surprisingly, there aren't many. Still, Japan's streets are incredibly clean. Why? Because people carry their trash home. It's part of their culture, a quiet, collective respect for public space. Even school kids clean their own classrooms. This national habit isn't enforced by strict laws. It's powered by social responsibility. Clean streets in Japan aren't just a system, they're a mindset, and that makes all the difference. Fact 2. In Japan, silence isn't awkward, it's powerful. Whether in a train, a restaurant, or even a business meeting, people often choose silence over small talk. It shows respect, thoughtfulness, and emotional control. Even in schools, students are taught to listen more than they speak. This quiet culture creates a peaceful public space, even in the busiest cities. In Japan, silence is not emptiness, it's presence. It teaches us that words aren't always needed to show understanding. Fact 3. Japan has more vending machines than almost any other country, over 5 million of them. You can buy drinks, hot meals, fresh eggs, umbrellas, batteries, even t-shirts, all without talking to a single person. These machines are everywhere. in alleys, on mountaintops, even in temples. And what's most surprising? They're rarely vandalized or broken, because in Japan, trust and responsibility run deep. Technology meets discipline, and the result is convenience you can rely on. Fact 4. Have you heard of capsule hotels? These tiny futuristic sleeping pods are found across Japan. Each capsule is just big enough for one person to sleep, with lights, outlets, and even a TV. They're super clean, quiet, and affordable, perfect for travelers or workers who missed the last train. This idea may seem strange, but in Japan, space saving isn't a compromise. It's a lifestyle. Minimalism and comfort come together in the most unexpected ways. Fact 5. In Japan, trains are not just transportation, they're a symbol of national pride. The Shinkansen, or bullet train, reaches speeds up to 320 km/h and is famous for being on time, to the second. Even a 30-second delay can lead to a public apology from the railway company. That level of precision shows how deeply Japanese culture values time and reliability. It's not just a train ride, it's a smooth, silent experience of discipline in motion. Fact 6. Japanese toilets are an experience of their own. Many come with heated seats, music for privacy, water sprays with pressure settings, and even air dryers. Some even lift the lid automatically when you enter. This attention to comfort and hygiene shows how Japan adds technology to the most ordinary routines. It's thoughtful, clean, and surprisingly relaxing. Even a restroom visit becomes something you remember. Fact 7. Respect is woven into every part of Japanese life. From bowing instead of shaking hands to removing shoes before entering homes, respect is a daily habit. Even customer service is built on deep politeness, cash is handed with both hands, and every thank you feels sincere. It's not about formality, it's about valuing people. In Japan, manners aren't rules. They're reflections of care and dignity. Fact 8. Cherry blossoms, or sakura, are more than just beautiful trees in Japan. They bloom for just a couple of weeks each year and attract millions of people for hanami, flower viewing festivals. Families and friends gather under the trees to celebrate life, nature, and change. Sakura reminds people of how life is both beautiful and brief. It's a quiet moment of reflection and a deep part of Japanese identity. Fact 9. Japan's school system doesn't have janitors. Why? Because the students clean their own classrooms, hallways, and even toilets. It's called osoji, and it teaches responsibility, discipline, and teamwork from a young age. This daily practice helps students respect their environment and value hard work. In Japan, education isn't just about books. It's about building better people. Fact 10. Japan is one of the safest countries in the world. It's common to see young children walking alone to school, even in big cities. Crime rates are low, and lost wallets often find their way back to the owner, with the money still inside. What makes this possible? A culture of honesty, strong communities, and shared values? In Japan, safety isn't enforced, it's expected. Japan is more than sushi, samurai, and skyscrapers. It's a place where old traditions and futuristic dreams blend into everyday life. A country that teaches the world how discipline, respect, and simplicity can create beauty in everything, even the ordinary. Which fact surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most fascinating places. Until next time, stay curious. Japan is more than sushi, samurai, and skyscrapers. It's a place where old traditions and futuristic dreams blend into everyday life. A country that teaches the world how discipline, respect, and simplicity can create beauty in everything, even the ordinary. Which fact surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most fascinating places. Until next time.